Gerhard Bloom, once again, looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So let's take a quick look at DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or as Ron DeSantis likes to identify it as, division, exclusion, and indoctrination. And this man is not wrong. Diversity. This is why you have people being discriminated against on the basis of their race, the basis of their gender, or their sexual orientation, right? Because we need, people of, diversity is our strength. No, your strength is your strength. The best person, the best qualified person should get whatever job that is. And if the numbers don't turn out to be equitable, I don't see people in the, the NFL. We need more Asian kids on the gridiron, right? Or in the NBA, right? No, vastly overrepresented by black athletes. They're not being given any preferential treatment by virtue of their oppressed nature. No, they're there because they earned it. And kids at Ivy League universities, Asians, being discriminated against because we have too many of you, as though these kids are, cartons of eggs, right? We got too many of you. No, you have to look into each and every instance. Who's got the groceries? Who has the SAT scores? Who's earned a spot here? And in the most recent fiasco, Kimberly Turtle, the director for the Secret Service, a diversity hire, right? A friend of Dr. Jill Biden gets promoted to run the shop there. And what does she do? Yep, she wants diversity, more women. We need more. Why do we need more women? You don't need more women. You don't need more black people. You don't need more Asian people. You need the best people for the job. And undoubtedly, some women will manage to make the grade, right? But if you've seen the videos of the aftermath of the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, right? In the immediacy, you have some fat woman, tiny, fat, confused, and overwhelmed by the situation. In her place, there could have been somebody who was trained and qualified and disciplined and knew their actions on drills. So, and United Airlines, we need more women and black pilots. No, you don't. You need qualified pilots. And you qualify, you're the best and the brightest, in you go. But this is awful. And equity. This is equal outcomes. They tried that. That's communism. Yep. And you know what? Those were amongst the most unequal societies the world has ever known. Mao's China, millions of people, and I mean tens of millions of people, starved to death, sent to slave labor camps, tortured and murdered. Because you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. This is what communists actually argued. Famously, one had said, we've seen the broken eggs, where's the omelet? Soviet Union, same thing. Millions of people starved to death, sent to gulags, concentration camps, tortured and murdered, right? Equity, that's equity for you. There has been no economic system in the world that has produced the greatest wealth for the greatest numbers as capitalism. Capitalism, that's right. Mao, after he died, Deng Xiaoping took the leadership. It was the sharpest reduction in poverty in human history. How did he do that? He didn't do it. He just got out of the way. He told the government to get out of the way, started allowing free enterprise. First at a very low level, and then he realized this is catching on. This is working. And so, fastest reduction in poverty in human history. So that's equity for you. It's always and everywhere been a disaster. And Cambodia, same deal. India, democratic socialist country, poverty-stricken for decades and decades, and then they realize, maybe this socialism isn't such a good thing after all. Rapid reduction in poverty. And inclusion, right? This is why men who say they're women are allowed into the women's shower room, right? Because we don't want to exclude these pretend women, right? They're not women, they're men. and including them makes women unsafe. Women are being raped by men in women's prisons. I did a video about this before. 2 gay men, they were allowed to adopt 2 little boys. Again, inclusion. Why should they be excluded from the joys of parenthood? Social scientists have known for decades kids do best in a 2-parent home with a mom and a dad, not 2 dads. What did these 2 dads do? Oh, they repeatedly raped these kids. They videoed that rape, and they were selling access to these videos online. That's what this is. And inclusion, more inclusion. Okay, here's another example. Trans men breastfeeding. Yeah, they now give these men who pretend to be women a soup of chemicals so that they lactate. Inclusion. Why hurt their feelings? They want to be included. Why should they be denied the right? It's not a right. It's a biological fact. Women lactate. Men don't. What about these babies and that soup of cocktails they're ingesting? We don't care, right? We're being inclusive because we care. Elon Musk. This man is a giant. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, passed a law now. If you have a child in school who's socially transitioning, right? They leave, oh, bye, honey. Yeah, bye, dad. They go to school. Your little daughter is pretending to be a boy, and the school is forbidden to let you know as a parent. And as Ron DeSantis says, indoctrination. In school, grade school, the schooling system has your kid for about 16,000 hours, and they're filling your kids with this poisonous, toxic nonsense. Did videos on this before, right? The gender dinosaur, the gender unicorn. These kids don't understand this whole gender ideology. And by the way, that gender ideology, absolute nonsense. The difference between sex and gender, sex, you're born male or female, and gender is just a kind of social overlay. You know, you can be a man, a proper man, in a kilt. You're not wearing a skirt. They're kilts. Men wear kilts, right? There you go. They're not pretending to be women. So certain gender signifiers in one culture may be read differently in another, but no, there's no radical difference and disconnect between sex and gender. So California, you're not allowed to know as a parent what the schools know. There's nobody on the planet that will care for your kids as much as you do. That's a fact. We are hardwired to care for our offspring in a manner that we don't care for other people's offspring. That's evolutionary psychology, and it's very basic. So at any rate, Elon Musk, he's pulling X out. He's pulling SpaceX out of California. That was it, the final straw for him. Speaking of this ideology, interesting conversation. I'm at a bookstore having a coffee. I get a little French bulldog, 2 very pleasant young women. One's black, one was white, by the way. And I said, they're talking to my little French bulldog. And I said, just curious. So can men have babies? They laugh. They didn't know. Looking at me like I'm crazy. I said, but they teach you this in school, right? Oh, yeah. But you don't believe them. No. So they're lying to you. Oh, yeah. I said, what do your friends think about this? Oh, yeah, they think it's all nonsense. And this racist nonsense is, dividing people along racial lines. You're white, you're an oppressor. You're black, you're oppressed by that white person over there. No, they don't buy into it. When I said that, they slapped hands and gave each other the nod. And I'm like, outstanding. This gives me hope. They had to be middle school, junior high school kids, and they're wise to this poisonous ideology. That same day, I have a conversation with this woman. Again, talking to my French bulldog. I said to her, by the way, I've written this book, blah, 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 and oh yeah, men and competing in women's sports. I play hockey in a female league, and I'm like, yeah, it's poisonous nonsense, and there's racist nonsense. What? Racist? Yeah, Asian kids being discriminated against because blacks are underrepresented. So a bridge too far for this woman. A bridge too far. I said, this ideology, it's damaging black people. Black people are being hurt the most by this poisonous ideology. And I said, the data points. Before Lyndon Johnson and the Great Society and the welfare scheme, the black family was slightly more intact than the white family. That's right. You heard, yeah, the legacy of slavery. Blacks couldn't get married, so they didn't understand the institution. Wrong. Post-slavery life was very tough. And yes, they were discriminated against in the most shameless ways imaginable. They stuck together. The black family was very strong. And guess what? They valued education. Education. After slavery and the immediacy thereof, 98%, thereabout, almost 100% of blacks couldn't read. Why? Not because they didn't have the intellect for it. They weren't allowed to. They weren't allowed to. 75 years later, no, about 100 years later, 75% of the black community could read. They had no resources. They couldn't go to public schools. Tremendous efforts for an education. In California, 75% of black kids cannot read at grade standard. So I'm dropping these truth bombs, as it were. She says to me, I don't care about the data. She then adds, I'm an engineer and I don't care about the data. I says, you're an engineer and you don't care about the data? No, don't care. Tribalism, right? Tribalism. This is her moral community. Makes her feel good to feel like she's fighting the racist oppression that ended in the 1960s, right? That ship has sailed. Sure, there are racist individuals, black and white, by the way. Blacks commit more racist hate crimes than any group in the United States. That is a fact. But yes, there are white racists and they're shameless. It's awful. Stop it. But again, back to this diversity business. You start dividing people along racial grounds or sexual grounds, sexual identity, or your sexuality, your sexual identities. You foster tribalistic division and mutual suspicion and hatred. This is not the way to go. So at any rate, props to Elon Musk for getting out of California. And by the way, did a video on this. It's unprecedented in American history. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled California. The rampant crime, the high taxes, these woke initiatives, people are fleeing. People who can leave are leaving. And Elon Musk, when he takes those companies out, he is taking millions and millions of dollars with him, and he's taking millions of taxpayer dollars as well, and his employees. Good on him. This ideology is a cancer. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's all cultural Marxist poison. And for further discussion of this and many other topics, check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. And as the title suggests, I take you through this poisonous ideology and I dismantle this racist nonsense, this transgender ideology, this Islam is a religion of peace nonsense, Israel is an apartheid oppressor nation, all of that stuff and much more. Check it out. It's not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issue could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Please do drop a thumbs up. Gratifies my fragile male ego. And please share it. Feel free. It's free. Bye-bye.